Hey, good Sunday afternoon, everyone. I'm Way 31 Storm Tracker Chief Meteorologist Jeff Castle. We've got some storms moving across North Alabama and southern Middle Tennessee this afternoon. And there's going to be the possibility some of these could produce some severe weather as they roll across the area. In fact, we're anticipating that there is going to be a severe thunderstorm watch issued for probably all of North Alabama and southern Middle Tennessee coming up here pretty soon. We've only had some warnings here across southern Middle Tennessee, storms that are back here towards the shoals, bringing some heavy rain and maybe some wind gusts 30, 40 miles per hour, but no severe weather appears to be occurring with this activity. There is a severe thunderstorm warning that does include Lincoln County here in southern Middle Tennessee. That's for a storm that you see here right on the Lincoln-Giles County line. Main threat out of this is going to be for the possibility of seeing some strong wind gusts coming on through. So that's the main thing that we are keeping an eye on with this activity right now. Again, the expectation is that there will be a severe thunderstorm watch that is issued, and it looks like it just came out, and that will be running until 11 o'clock this evening. So let me get that updated for you, and we'll show you what that is going to include. And then we'll also track this storm moving across Lincoln County. Again, this is primarily for seeing some strong wind gusts with this storm coming on through. 60-mile-per-hour gusts potentially, and maybe hail up to penny size that is below severe size. That would be quarter-sized or larger. This storm in Lincoln County, it's moving east at 50, so these are going to race through pretty quickly. As I track this out, we'll also talk about kind of what the expectation is. This is not likely to be the only wave of thunderstorm activity that we're tracking through the evening hours. This is just kind of the initial batch that's moving on through. But again, we do have a lead storm around Boones Hill, but it's primarily the storm back behind that that has prompted the warning. So this is when it's going to be coming on in. If you are in Boones Hill, of course, you have one storm currently in place. But again, the storm back behind is the one that's prompted the warning. Coming into Fayetteville, 3:44 approximately. And again, this is just one of those storms, not too terribly bad, but one of those storms you want to be indoors. You want to stay away from outdoor walls, that sort of thing, as again, this could produce some strong wind. Not really seeing tornado potential, at least at this point in time. Won't rule that out as a possibility, and that is something that we will be keeping an eye on with these storms as they come on through. Taking a look here at the wind velocity, there's nothing where we're seeing spinning of the wind. I'll kind of show you what I'm talking about here. This is all wind just kind of going in one direction and not rotating wind. We're not seeing that in any one spot. The greens are the winds blowing toward the radar, which we're using the radar out of Jackson County in High Top, and the reds blowing away, but there's nothing along here that I'm seeing at the moment that's a concern for a tornado. So primary threat is going to be, again, for some wind gusts that could be upwards of 60 miles per hour. That's a possibility. All right, let me, again, severe thunderstorm watch is out until 11 o'clock this evening. So let me get that updated for you. And we'll show you who all is included in that watch. Let's see here. All right, here's your severe thunderstorm watch. Basically all of North Alabama is included. And this is basically an extenuation of the watch that you may have been aware of that is in place to our west across Mississippi and parts of southwestern Tennessee. So this is a new severe thunderstorm watch, goes until 11. You can see everyone is included here, southern Middle Tennessee, the counties that we cover there, and from Coleman County towards Etowah, Cherokee County also included. in this watch. Again, goes until 11 o'clock this evening. So let me kind of, and if you got some questions along the way, please put those in the comments. I'll try to check those. I'll show you the wider view first. So this is going to be the big picture. And this is the reason for the severe thunderstorm watch. So we got a couple clusters of thunderstorms moving on through. Current one may prompt a few warnings. Not super well organized, but especially here in Middle Tennessee, some of the storms have been a little bit stronger. And so that's probably where the main threat from this is going to remain, is Middle Tennessee. Notice this batch of storms kind of comes to an end, northeastern Colbert County. We'll see if any of these storms across the state line here into northern Alabama, if they flare up and there's any concern. But the most organized part of this line has been the northern extent of it. That's where we've seen the warnings. You do see more scattering of activity back here into parts of Mississippi, at least right now. None of this in northern Mississippi, which is what would affect us, is severe. And then back here into Arkansas, you do see another band of storms kind of organizing here from northwest of Memphis back towards Jonesboro, Arkansas, to north of Little Rock. The expectation is this batch kind of comes and goes in the next few hours. We may have some scattered activity that comes in behind that, that works its way across North Alabama. We'll see if any of that gets organized enough to be a severe weather threat. And then the expectation is that this line of storms forming back into Arkansas is going to continue to organize. And once it does, it will start a shift off to the east and the southeast, which could bring some of this across our area a little bit later on this evening. So kind of a couple of waves that potentially may bring some severe weather along with them. Let me show you some of the model data, and keep in mind when I show you this, it is simply model data. It is just guidance. May not necessarily work out the way it is showing. Just an update on the storm here in Lincoln County. They're bumping up the potential wind threat, maybe upwards of 70 miles per hour. Let's show you that wind coming through here. Again, there's no spinning of the wind, so that's good news. But some stronger winds showing up here along Highway 64 back to Boones Hill. So if there's going to be some stronger wind, that's most likely where it's going to be located. And again, this is tracking off to the southeast, so this is going to make its way towards Fayetteville. Again, there's time of arrival. Within 15 minutes, looks like this is going to be making its way through Fayetteville. So again, just stay away from windows, you know, the usual rules we tell you about severe thunderstorms, don't want to be outside, all that good stuff. And just wait until this storm has passed. All right, so keeping an eye on that. Again, none of the activity that we have back here in Limestone, Lauderdale, Colbert, Lawrence County, none of it super well organized. Might be a little wind coming through Rogersville up to Anderson. That kind of has the shape, but likely not severe wind. Not seeing anything super strong showing up out of that, to be honest. So that's some good news. So again, the storms that are in Alabama are a little bit less organized as they are coming on through. And as it stands now, we're just going to do a little update here for you, and then I'm going to step away to update some other things. And obviously, we'll be back on here live if things start to get a little bit more active. But again, before I do that, I want to show you some of the model information and what it is suggesting with, again, what will likely be a couple waves of storms. So I'm going to show you a couple pieces of information here. May not necessarily match reality. That's just kind of the nature of the models. And you see here, this is just one model. Doesn't have a great handle on how things are currently set up, but it does show, at least through early mid-evening, threat for a few stronger storms coming on through. So that is one opinion Here's another one. Again, a little off on the details, showing most of the activity there in southern Middle Tennessee, but a little bit behind where everything is actually located on radar. But it does show this initial band continue to come through. And then it shows some of this activity, which again is back in Arkansas, which will likely shift through the area as well with time through this evening. And by the time we hit 11 o'clock tonight, again, most of the data is showing this should be on out of here. And again, it's primarily going to be a damaging wind threat. There may be some instances where there could be a little bit larger hail that comes on through, but primarily a wind threat. I won't say the tornado threat zero. I mean, we rarely will tell you that. And in this case, it's kind of the same thing. It's not necessarily zero. It's not particularly high, which is the reason why we've got a severe thunderstorm watch as opposed to a tornado watch. But obviously, that's something we'll keep an eye on. If anything were to develop in terms of a tornado, it would most likely be something on the weaker end of the scale and probably fairly brief. But again, won't entirely rule that out with the activity that is coming on through. So again, as it stands right now, strongest part of this line of storms that's coming through is in southern Middle Tennessee. Storms that we have here in northern Alabama right now are below severe limits, maybe some winds 30, 35, maybe 40 miles per hour out of some of this. Some smaller pea-sized hail right now would be as big as that is going to get. But this batch of storms will continue to head across Limestone County, Lawrence County, probably going to get clipped into Decatur, and with time this will make it into Huntsville. Our more organized area of storms is here across Lincoln County in southern Middle Tennessee. Again, primarily a wind threat out of this. And perhaps potentially some winds 60, maybe a little bit higher than that. And again, we'll keep an eye on anything that showing signs of potentially spinning up. I'd say northwest of Fayetteville. We'll keep an eye on that. Again, I'm not super concerned at this point, but whenever you see these little notches, let me circle what I'm talking about. Whenever we see something like this, we'll have to keep an eye on it. Basically, what we've got going on here is this is a surge of some strong wind, so it's causing this part of the line to bow out a little bit, and sometimes that can create a little spin along the line. So we'll be monitoring for that. Let's see if this changes any with time. Right now, there's nothing real significant in terms of any spin here. Just a little bit. Again, the green's toward the radar, so there's a little push of the wind here. Then you've got air going back into the storm. So here, just west of Howell, very, very broad rotation showing up. And what we'd be looking for is for this to kind of consolidate and get a little bit more concentrated over a smaller area. So we're going to keep an eye on that. Again, I don't think we have a big tornado threat. And again, anything that would develop would likely have difficulty being sustained for any length of time. But just a heads up for you folks over towards Howell, and this will eventually find its way towards Mulberry. Otherwise, again, it is a strong wind threat that we are keeping an eye on with this. Weather Service mentioned they are watching some rotation there south of Petersburg. So again, that's what we're keeping a watch on for you. The storm's back here in Alabama. Let's kind of track all this out for you. Mostly moving to the east. And so this is kind of the time of arrival that this activity would come through. Decatur about 4:06, so 20 minutes or so out from Decatur. Madison area 414, Huntsville 423, Triana coming in around 425, the Princeton area in western Jackson County around 438. Again, not severe. This would just be the time of arrival when you can expect these heavier showers and thunderstorms to come on in. But again, right now, we're not seeing any indications of anything severe out of this. And again, the Weather Service is keeping an eye on the storm there, as we are in Lincoln County. We are seeing just a little bit of broad rotation showing up here, close to Howell. Again, nothing that appears to be spinning up at this point in time. But I'm going to keep it on that as we get the new data that sweeps on in. Let me take a look here at the our live, and so just a few people commenting on my Facebook page. Let me check the Way 31 page. Let's see what we've got here. And primarily people checking in. Hope everyone's having a good Memorial Day weekend thus far. I wish the weather had been better. Yesterday certainly was a wash for most of the day. Mostly just some folks checking in here. Josh wanting to know about New Hope. What's the time for New Hope of these, at least this initial round coming on through? All right. So they are going to issue a tornado warning. So let me go talk to some people in the back that we need to go on. Hey, we need to go on.
Yeah, yell at him back there. I'm ready.
No, I'll throw that in real quick. Hey, good afternoon, everyone. Way 31 Storm Tracker Chief Meteorologist Jeff Castle. A tornado warning has just been issued for northern parts of Lincoln County here in southern Middle Tennessee. This is passing a little north of you folks in Fayetteville, but anywhere east of Howell primarily. This circulation about to cross Highway 231. It's going to be going through the northern part here of Lincoln County in southern Middle Tennessee. I will say with the latest scan update, we're kind of losing the rotational signature, but anywhere from Belleville to Boonville to Mulberry, I do want you to head to your tornado safe place for, again, the possibility of a tornado. This would be a setup for basically quick little spin ups. This is not going to be like what we saw on Tuesday of last week. This warning goes until 4:30. If it continues to look like this, they may need to cancel it. Briefly, we had a little bit of an increase in the rotation here. I'll take you back in time. So this was around Howell a few moments ago. And we had what we call a velocity couplet that shows up here, the greens toward the radar, reds away. You can see what it looked like just a few minutes ago. And then as I back it up here and bring it forward in time, that area has kind of not showing as significant of a circulation right now. But again, if you are anywhere from Belleville to Boonville to Mulberry, just go ahead and head to your tornado safe place for the possibility that there may be a tornado that could spin up here. Again, latest scan update here looks a little bit less concerning. But in addition, we do have a severe thunderstorm warning that is moving through portions of Lincoln County as well. There you see the tornado warning polygon. Again, this goes until 4:30. So it does include quite a bit of real estate downstream. And again, quick spin up. Most of these, if you're going to get a tornado, there's only going to be probably a good 20-minute window where that's going to be a possibility. So we'll see if this warning is canceled. We'll keep an eye on it. Again, the latest update with the rotational signature has weakened from when the warning was issued. Again, Fayetteville, this is going to stay north of you, but over towards Mulberry, this will be coming across Moore County, southern Middle Tennessee, also into northern parts of Franklin County, near and north of Winchester. So may have gotten the alerts, maybe hearing the sirens up here in the communities that have them for a tornado warning. Again, this is radar indicated. The storm did show a brief little spin up potential. Looking at the wind velocity, again, we're kind of losing that signature compared to what it was. We've still got something here, again, pretty close to, looks like the community is called Mimosa. It's passed through Howell, and it is moving its way towards Mulberry, but again, Weather Service may have to take a closer look at this, and if the next few scans that come through and nothing changes, that warning may need to be canceled. But we're going to keep an eye on it for you. This is basically a line of storms that is coming on through. Most intense part of the line is northern parts of Lincoln County, although we do have a severe thunderstorm warning that is out. That includes northern Madison County and northern parts of Jackson County. Let me show you where all this is going to be headed. Mostly moving east, a little bit of a jog to the southeast. So this is kind of the time of arrival that we are looking at with this activity. Mulberry, again, you are in the path of a potential tornado. This would be traveling towards Lynchburg by 355, Huntland, Tennessee area. And again, this is the whole storm that does have a severe thunderstorm warning on it. This is not just the tornado part of it. But into the Huntland, Tennessee area around 406, Winchester 413, Deckard 415, Sewanee 426, the Martin Springs area around 435. In addition to perhaps a tornado threat, the storm is also capable of producing some strong winds, upwards of perhaps 60, maybe 70 miles per hour. There were some indications, at least that was a possibility with this storm moving on through. And in addition, perhaps some smaller hail as well. But let's take another look here as I clear all this off. And there are a couple other areas here where, I'll illustrate these for you. What prompted the original tornado warning? That area rotation, I think, has pretty well fizzled. There's another here east of Fayetteville, and you can kind of pick it out here. Green is toward, red's away. It's a little bit of broad circulation. It's possible they may issue a warning on that as well. But again, if something were to develop tornado-wise, brief spin-up. We emphasis on the word brief. This is not something that will likely be sustained. That other area rotation that had been approaching Mulberry, again, I think that has kind of gone by the wayside. So they might keep the tornado warning going just in the event that something else develops along the line. So we are going to keep an eye on that as it moves through the area. But again, this is going to be very, very brief. If something's going to develop, we're not really set up for anything more than that. Outside of the stronger storm activity that we do have here, southern Middle Tennessee, storms do extend down into North Alabama. Now, nothing that is particularly strong at this point, at least in terms of posing any sort of immediate severe weather threat, but you can kind of see everything working its way through southern Tennessee, back into northern parts of Limestone County, northwest Madison County right now, back into northern Lawrence County. No warnings on this part of the line, so it appears that anything that's moving through these areas is, at least right now, is below severe limits. But we're going to keep an eye on that as well as it moves on through. Now, this is not going to be the only batch of storms that we are tracking. We are under a severe thunderstorm watch for all of North Alabama, and that does go until 11 o'clock this evening. Let's show you what that looks like. So you see the counties in our immediate area that are included. That includes you folks in the Shoals, includes you around the greater Huntsville area, includes you over into Sand Mountain. So again, severe thunderstorm watch goes until 11 o'clock tonight. And that means the conditions are most probable for some strong wind. The threat for tornadoes is low enough that, again, severe thunderstorm watch issued as opposed to a tornado watch. So, you know, that should tell you a little bit about how the atmosphere is set up. But again, along these lines of storms, you know how it goes. We get these a lot. Quick little spin-ups are a possibility, and that's something that we are going to have to keep an eye on with these storms as they roll on through. But again, anything that were to develop would be brief, would not be particularly long-lasting coming on through the area if we were to see, again, any sort of tornado activity out of any of this. Let me take another look here, show you the wide view first, what we've got going on. Storms barely extend south of the Tennessee River. And the strongest activity is to the north. They are indicating a new circulation developing southwest of Lynchburg, Tennessee, perhaps. So again, I have a feeling they're just going to keep this tornado warning going. Once it has moved out of Lincoln County, that takes it out of our coverage area. Showing you the wide picture, and we'll get back up there into the Lincoln County area and get you the latest information on that particular storm. The reason for the severe thunderstorm watch until 11, it's not just going to be this one batch that's coming through now and then we're done. The reason for the watch is for this activity you see developing back into northern Arkansas. This is going to be coming through as well as we head through the evening hours. So we've got one round now, limited severe threat, probably mostly southern middle Tennessee is where we're going to have that threat. And then we'll have this other line of thunderstorm activity that is going to be working its way in from Arkansas. That will also bring with it, and particularly the expectation is this is going to organize into a very solid line of storms, and as a result, it is going to pose a damaging wind threat as it comes through our area a little bit later on into the evening hours. But again, we've got this initial batch coming on through as well. All right, let me get you back up here into Lincoln County. Again, anywhere along this line, I'm going to point all this out to you. Get these little spots where a little spin tries to happen. Maybe a little here near Lynchburg. East of Fayetteville, we've got that as well. If you are in Fayetteville and you sought shelter for the tornado warning, the most dangerous part of the storm has passed you by. Still, good idea to stay in until the weather has calmed down, but at least the potential for a tornado now to your east, and it is going to be working its way particularly across the county line on into extreme southern Moore County. Again, east of Fayetteville, maybe a little bit trying to spin up here. There's the latest scan update. Again, right here, possibility that we've got something, again, that would be brief, not something that is going to last for a long period of time. This is located a little bit northwest of Kelso. And again, this is different than the original circulation that prompted the tornado warning. So this is northeast of Kelso. What we've got going on with the color scheme here, the greens toward the radar, reds are away, right in this area northeast of Kelso. Again, another perhaps quick little spin up developing here. And this is something that, again, could happen along this line, creating some localized damage in the form of a weak tornado that could bring some trees, some power lines down. They are going to draw up a new tornado warning for the circulation near Kelso, so that is forthcoming momentarily here from the Weather Service. The other tornado warning, I think this becomes our primary concern, but if it's like the other one, it's not going to last. It's going to be quick little thing here. You also see kind of the shape, the radar pattern illustrating what we've got going on. Basically near Kelso, we've got the wind kind of surging out, and that's creating just this little indentation here, west of Champ, northwest of Smithland. So if you're east Kelso, again, this is beyond you folks in Fayetteville at this point, so you are okay there, at least from a tornado threat perspective. But if you are east of Kelso, over here towards Champ, Smithland area, extreme southern Moore County, southern Middle Tennessee. This is going to stay south of Lynchburg. And then this is going to carry on into parts of Franklin County, which is just outside of our coverage area, north of Winchester. But again, another little area of potential spin that is developing here northeast of Kelso, there in southern Middle Tennessee. So again, new tornado warning is going to be coming out for that part of this thunderstorm. So you're going to see the warning here. That does include parts of Jackson County as well. This warning does now go until, let's see, goes until 4:45. So I think what we're going to end up having going on here, National Weather Service is going to be issuing tornado warnings for these brief spin-ups. The tornado boxes, even though we can kind of pinpoint where the circulation is, these are going to be drawn pretty broad in the event that one area rotation fades and then we get another spot where there may be some spin up that develops as well. So just keep that in mind. Again, here, eastern Lincoln County, this is going to be moving into Franklin County, Tennessee, and you do see the tornado warning does include far northern parts of Jackson County, here in the northeast corner of the state. So let's track all this out for you. This is all going to be moving its way primarily east, a little bit of a jog off to the south and east. And these storms are moving at around 50 miles per hour. The original tornado warning, again, I think that threat has subsided. So this is going to be a new area of spin that has developed near Kelso. This will be tracking towards you folks in Winchester. Again, may stay just north of the state line. Jackson County, a little bit of you are covered near the state line, but probably going to stay a little north unless we get something else that develops a little bit farther along the line here. Flintville, again, the storm coming in around 357, Huntland, Tennessee area around 407, Cowan, Tennessee around 422, the Sherwood area around 428. Again, if you over towards Winchester, you are included in this as well. So just go ahead, head to your tornado safe place. In most cases, this sort of weather set up, it's going to be sufficient for you just to get in the middle of your home, small interior rooms such as a closet, small interior bathroom, hallway. Those are going to give you sufficient protection from, in this sort of setup, which typically does not produce a strong tornado. Okay, so let's get you back up in here. And the area most concern is, again, going to be a little bit outside of Fayetteville. So Fayetteville, you're not included, if you bear with me. Well, I get this over here so I can control the computers a little bit easier instead of walking back and forth. So this is what we're watching near Smithland, right here. Just a little bit of circulation. These don't show up real strong on radar because they're not strong circulations to begin with, but you can get a quick little spin up. Again, Fayetteville, this is well back to you're well back to the west of where this is, so no concerns for you. But it will say anywhere from Smithland to Gum Springs to Flintville, points eastward here in Lincoln County and southern Middle Tennessee. Basically, if you're along the Highway 64 corridor, I want you to head to your tornado safe place for, again, the possibility that we might get a little spin up that develops here out of this particular storm coming on through. Again, these would be brief spin ups. These are not going to be what we would call a long track or a strong tornado. Again, certainly not the same sort of setup that we had on Tuesday. There's the latest scan update. Again, we've kind of lost it here near Smithland. It's very, very broad, very, very subtle. But the warning does continue here. Do have a report of some power outages near Russellville from the southern part of the line that's coming on through. So although we don't have severe warnings for the southern part of the line, packing a little bit of a punch, still have this little notch, this little indentation near Smithland. But again, looking at the wind velocity, we've kind of lost the signature a little bit. But if there is a tornado that may develop very close to Smithland, basically where Lincoln, Moore, and Franklin counties all meet up here in southern Middle Tennessee. Again, Fayetteville, this is well off to your east, so this is not a concern for you. Weather is actually starting to improve in Fayetteville, but it's going to continue to go downhill as this part of this line of storms continues to come on through. Outside of the tornado warning areas, there is a severe thunderstorm warning that does cover parts of northern Madison County and northern parts of Jackson County as well. So the main hazard out of this storm, I think, is going to be for some strong wind gusts, 60 miles per hour. And again, along the line, we do get these areas of where we see some brief spin developing. Otherwise, what is back here into North Alabama, extending from Hazel Green to Athens, this part of the line is not severe. A little more electrical here outside of Rogersville. And again, we did get some reports for some power outages there. That may be lightning related, perhaps. Stronger storm here, definitely, just because there's a little more electrical activity associated with it coming on through. But again, where we do have the tornado warning, is there in extreme eastern Lincoln County, southern Middle Tennessee, again, east of Fayetteville. Again, outside of that, there is a damaging wind threat with these storms coming on through, so a couple of hazards. You're more likely to be impacted by strong wind than you are necessarily a tornado. But again, along this line, quick little spin-ups perhaps, may see another area here. Again, east of Fayetteville is the primary one that we are looking at with this particular thunderstorm activity moving on through right now. Let's just get another update here. Taking a look at the wind velocities. Again, greens toward the radar, reds away. There's really no one area that I'm seeing at this point in time, getting the latest update coming on through, that would be indicative of a significant tornado threat at this point in time. But again, these quickly develop, they don't last long, they go away. If there is anything maybe northwest of Winchester, this is a little bit more of a tighter area rotation showing up here north of Brownington, close to Center Grove, again, northwest of Fayetteville. So once again, if you are here, extreme southern Moore County, and in particular now into Franklin County and southern Middle Tennessee, just go ahead, head to your tornado safe place. Again, the tornado warning as it is drawn up is over a broad area. So I just want you to seek shelter. Again, tornado warning or severe thunderstorm winds, one or the other is likely to be experienced here. Again, this is coming out of Lincoln County right now near Huntland, Tennessee. Again, Winchester, you're in the path. Extreme northern parts of Jackson County included in this. Again, couple hazards. There might be a brief tornado situation, but more likely you're going to experience some strong wind that could be on the order of maybe 60 to perhaps 70 miles per hour. Quick look at hail. Not really seeing big indications of hail showing up in any of these storms. There might be some smaller hail, but otherwise we're not really seeing any. Again, not like what we had on Tuesday. We're not seeing those cores of larger hail coming on through out of any of this. So it is primarily a wind threat, and again, perhaps some of these brief areas of spin. This is where we could see some rotation. I think this is also kind of the corridor, the strongest wind coming through northwestern parts of Franklin County there in southern Middle Tennessee. So Winchester to Estill Springs, yes, this is going to be blowing on through here shortly with primarily a strong wind threat, but again, there might be an incident where we do get a brief tornado spin up out of this. You can see the tornado warnings drawn in the red here, approaching Huntland. Again, we'll be approaching Winchester, moving on through as well. Really don't think that we're going to have a threat down into Jackson County at this point in time with this storm coming on through. Do want to show you again the bigger picture of what we got going on all across the region. We got this one cluster of storms moving through Middle Tennessee. It does snake back into parts of North Alabama. The Alabama part of this line of storms, not necessarily severe. The area here in Middle Tennessee is potentially severe with, again, the possibility for some strong wind gusts and maybe a quick little spin up of a tornado. Again, so we're going to be monitoring this coming on through. And then back off to the west, we're monitoring and organizing a line of storms north of Memphis back towards Little Rock. This will also swing through the area as the evening wears on, and a threat for some additional severe weather may accompany that as well. Again, severe thunderstorm watch is in effect until 11 o'clock this evening. It includes all of North Alabama and also areas in southern Middle Tennessee near and east of the I-65 corridor. Damaging wind is the main threat. Again, there is the possibility that we might get a brief tornado spin up, but again, I'm not expecting that it's going to be anything more significant than that. Certainly not to the degree of tornado activity that we had on Tuesday last week. Another quick look here. Again, the tornado warnings do continue for primarily Franklin County and southern Middle Tennessee. Again, the warning as it's drawn does include areas in Jackson County near the state line, but I think if anything's going to spin up and where we've seen the areas of spin, it's probably going to stay just across the state line there on into southern Middle Tennessee. Another quick look here as we go along the line. We'll start you close to the state line heading into North Alabama. This is mostly just some strong wind. What you're seeing here is the wind shift. What I'd be looking for is basically the greens kind of jutting out and the reds going back. That would indicate a tighter area of circulation showing up. Not really seeing that to any great degree here in this part of the line closer to the Alabama border. Maybe a little bit more here, northwest Franklin County, a little bit of a tighter area of spin. Again, this will be close to Estill Springs and areas north of Winchester. We're going to do one more track on this. I'm also going to get a look here. They are kind of trimming some of the warnings just a little bit. Tornado warning officially continues for Moore County, northern Franklin County. It still says east central Lincoln County, but really the leading edge of the storm is now starting to shift out of Lincoln County there in southern Middle Tennessee. And tornado warning remains in effect. North central Jackson County, I think really things are going to stay just across the state line. Southeastern Moore, southeastern Lincoln, Franklin County as well. We also have a severe thunderstorm warning in effect basically for the same areas that are under the tornado warning right now. In Lincoln County, roughly 900 folks without power. Highway 64 and north areas, no reports of damage at this time. Again, this is primarily moving its way off to the east. So let's kind of track this out here. Whole area. Again, southern part of this line, severe thunderstorm threat with strong wind. Northern areas here in Franklin County, southern Middle Tennessee, the threat's primarily going to be for maybe a brief spin up, although right now I'm not really seeing any of that. 410 in Winchester, Cowan, Tennessee, around 418. Sewanee, this will be coming through around 423 into the Pelham area, 427, and from there it continues to track away from us. So with that in mind, I don't think there's an immediate threat for a tornado, and if one was going to spin up, it is just outside of our coverage area here in southern Middle Tennessee. But if you know folks here in Winchester, Franklin County, just tell them to shelter in place until the storm has passed. Tornado threat overall at the moment looks to be pretty low and will be limited to a brief spin up. And again, if we see really any damage, I think it's going to come more from strong straight line wind. We're going to go back to regular programming as I don't think there's immediate threat in our coverage area. But we are continuing to monitor these storms, and obviously if some other tornado warnings are issued more down into Alabama with time, we'll of course break in for that. Again, expect this round coming through and then another wave that will likely move through during the evening hours, and both of these areas of storms will pose a severe weather threat as they're moving on through. But again, back to regular programming. We will break back in though if necessary, and also continue to scroll weather information at the bottom of your TV screen.
This has been a 31 Alert Day weather update. We now return to your regular programming.